Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Infinity Saga. This is your one and only spoiler warning for any of the movies in the saga. If you have a strong desire to see any of the movies before hearing about them from two regular Dans, turn this off now and go watch those amazing pieces of cinema. Then come back here and listen to our take, because we have a lot of interesting takes. We always discuss the current movie, but the stories here are so interwoven it's almost impossible not to talk about the future movies in the franchise. So, again, this is your one and only spoiler warning for any of the movies in the Infinity Saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is also your one and only adults-only content warning. Our aim is never to offend or alienate, and everything we say should be taken with a grain of salt. Please refrain from taking offense to our comedy. We're just here to discuss the current movie and have fun. Enjoy!
Do a little testaroo, little testaroo, just talk a little bit into the mic, just speak like you're talking.
Testicles.
There you go.
I like
Just saying
my
testicles and throwing out testicles.
Considering my testicles consider.
Hey Dan.
Hey, how's it going, Dan?
Good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling better.
That's good.
Not so Corona, like COVID-17,
19.
COVID.
It was fun.
COVID-16 even. I'm not even that bad. COVID-15 maybe.
Oh, good. So it's a scale. It's not the year it was found. All right.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't. It's understandable now. Hi, welcome to Entertainment and You. This is how pop culture shapes your world. It's really good. You should listen to all of it. Our mission statement is to keep a vague and open dialogue about how science fiction has affected pop culture as viewed through the eyes of two Dans in their 30s and 40s.
And 40s.
That's
40s
right.
are included.
It's not just. That's right. No topic is too off topic, and no opinion is wrong. Hey, that's you're right.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about the 7th movie in our Infinity Saga. It's called. You know what it's called? It's called
Iron Man 3.
Yeah. I didn't like it the first time I saw it, but this time around, and that was the last time I saw it was in theaters, so this time around,
Yeah, I would.
7 years later.
I'll say that when I saw it in the theaters, I would say that I felt a bit of maybe Marvel fatigue even.
And maybe betrayal, just because of the promotional
the
trailers were all about the Mandarin.
And Ben Kingsley looks so good.
Oh, he's so good.
They
Trevor
did.
Slattery.
Also, I gotta say, they made the way he progresses his moves towards domination and capturing the president and all that. I thought they were pretty smart moves, and combined with
like a giant theater, the main terrorist and the president.
Creating
a conflict.
That paired with the Ben Kingsley scary bad guy in the trailer, I thought this was going to be like, a serious threat that Iron Man was, maybe not be up for,
Now this is an Avengers level threat.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. It seems maybe too big for one man.
Yeah.
Is what the trailers made me feel.
Yeah. Well, this one, this one was directed by Shane Black, and it was released in 2013, about 7 years ago, so it was different time.
Yeah. Obviously, it was propelled by the success of Iron Man 1, and 2 didn't do too much worse than 1. And the Marvel movies, they had been picked up. They had done Captain America.
Yeah, this is directly
Thor.
Yeah, this is stuttering. This is directly following the Avengers, so it's clearly taken the world by storm.
Yeah, absolutely. Post New York, which is
they touch on.
It's a driving factor for his panic attack. So it's absolutely a story element.
But in the beginning, they do a Tarantino.
Yeah, the flashback I thought was really well done. We get to see Jensen.
Yep, see Jensen for the first time.
Huge touching moment. You could see that Tony Stark doesn't kind of even remember meeting him, though it was important to Jensen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know they're celebrating New Year's, but I didn't catch the city. You know what city they're supposed to be in the intro?
I think it starts with a B.
When Happy has it's Berlin, maybe? I know it's a European country. Or European city.
Bern, Switzerland.
Bern. There you go. Bern, Switzerland. So, I made a note just about Happy with
Happy with the mullet?
Yeah, dude. And the earrings?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so
really,
90s.
Really yeah, really, really good.
It's crazy how... this hair, Happy is so good. Oh man, we call him Happy, but
Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau. Yeah,
he's amazing.
While I wasn't impressed my first viewing, I think that the story development that they set up is really good. It's surprising to me that they even pull off the whole Mandarin deception, giving away the Guy Pearce being the neglected nerd at the beginning of the opening party.
Yeah.
Guy Pearce being the neglected nerd is all that you need to, as an observer, to see, oh, that's the guy who's going to be angry.
Yeah. Well, they set up quite quickly the plot for this one. So I think it even starts with Tony narrating. And Tony narrating back to the 90s. So while they're discussing the 90s, we're introduced to our cast of characters, which is obviously Tony Stark, Killian Graves.
Oh, let me get IMDb guy on the case.
It's Guy Pearce. I know that.
Yeah.
But we are introduced to a nerdy Guy Pearce who's saying...
Aldrich Killian.
Aldrich Killian. That's right. So I had it a little backwards. So it's Aldrich Killian. A third woman that is...
The botanist.
Yeah, the botanist. So the three of them, we get the picture that they're probably going to be integral to the plot. And I actually made a note about Happy leaping on him.
Yeah.
So first of all, Happy fucks with the plant that she says not to fuck with out of spite. Yeah. She says, "Don't mess with that," and he just pulls a branch off, like just as to be a dick.
Yeah.
And then immediately following that, the plant explodes because it's some sort of untested formula.
First regrew the limb.
Yeah, first it regrew the limb he tore off
had
to
a
show.
Consequence.
Yeah, they're just showing the audience this is what extremists.
They really show everything about it.
Yeah,
really,
everything you need to be set up is in the beginning.
And I gotta say, they detail it out so explicitly. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's why they leaned so far in the Ben Kingsley Mandarin bad guy
in the trailers.
Because
you could figure out pretty quickly if you saw.
Yeah, you almost need that to get past the explanation of everything in the first flashback.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah.
Again, because
I was duped. I was definitely duped.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, Ben Kingsley's dreadful voice, it really...
Yeah, it definitely set the tone for a scary, scary bad guy that Iron Man has to fight. But we depart our Tarantino-esque opening in the 90s, and we end up with Tony, I think he says he hasn't slept. Jarvis says he hasn't slept in 72 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if this is directly following the Avengers, as in the events were 3 days ago, or this is several months or whatever. They don't really explicitly say that.
Right.
But he's clearly turned his suits into an extreme hobby. Pet project, I suppose.
He was on Mark 42.
40-fucking-2.
And Pepper had guessed that he was on 15, so Pepper knows probably of 10 or more of them.
Yeah, and he's obviously gone crazy and built a lot more than that.
And as he explains later, it's because, she goes to sleep and he comes down to the lab and tinkers. He works through the night.
Yeah, so he's clearly got
lots of time,
shell shock, and tons of time to work on this stuff because of his
an excess of paranoia.
Yeah, and post-traumatic stress. Yeah, he's worried about the big picture.
I love that Marvel gives their heroes flaws that they flesh out and make as a large aspect of the character.
Yeah, it's just as important to the story that they beat the bad guy as it is that they beat their own shortcomings. Yeah, these are really good movies.
Yeah, Ben Kingsley, you'll never see me coming.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. He's such a good terrorist, and they quickly cut to that as well. Them basically just setting up Ben Kingsley's role as the Mandarin, leader of the 10 Rings, which they mentioned in the first Iron Man.
At what time did we kill? When did Osama bin Laden die?
Definitely post. Iron Man
definitely
3.
Post, right?
Yeah.
Because
2017 something.
I gotta say, I did feel that this was a weird. It felt like they were trying to take the lead organizational brain wizard of our terrorist organizations, in which Americans would point that to be Bin Laden.
Yeah, painted him to be some sort of zealotous.
You said this came out in 2013?
Yeah.
Bin Laden died May 2nd, 2011.
Oh shit. Oh wow.
A little more than 9 years ago today.
Really? Is that right? Huh.
That's what Google tells me. Date of death, May 2nd, 2011. But I gotta say, if this came out in 2013, even.
It's even more relevant.
It seems like
It's like a predecessor. Like somebody took over for whatever feared
they took that social character and they
Yeah.
applied it to
Ben Kingsley being
Ben
awesome.
Kingsley. Yeah, right. I mean, never did we get
You'll
that
never see me. So fucking scary.
And he and whenever he talks, he always outlays a whole bunch of facts.
Yeah.
I love that later on when Tony Stark is seeing the studio, how much that guy talks about show business and how that guy is all just about being an actor.
Yeah.
And it's everything that the shooting the person was all movie magic.
Yep. Yeah. Nothing he did on
CGI.
screen was it's green screen. It's special effects, movie magic.
Yeah, right. Want a Budweiser? Yeah. It was.
Ole, 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 ole. Tony, tell this guy to shut up before I smack him.
And I'll say in my hindsight, I will say that I appreciated the Ben Kingsley character for his comedic steps more than resented him when I first watched it for being betrayed by the trick.
Yep, I was absolutely when I saw it in theaters, I was so upset I hadn't watched it until this rewatch. So coming back and watching it after seeing the whole saga, I have definitely a deeper appreciation.
Right.
But I also liked I made a note about Happy trying to communicate to Tony while Guy Pearce is in Pepper's office, showing him his big brain.
Yeah.
He's like, he's in your office right now, showing Pepper your big brain, his big brain, and he's like, what? Showing her his brain? He's like, yeah, all right, show me. He's like, all right, I'll show you right now, and he tries to turn it, and he's like, all right, you gotta flip the screen. I'm just looking at your forehead right now. It's like the head of security for Tony Stark knows nothing about technology.
Yeah, and Tony Stark and Happy, their chemistry. I don't know if it's just so easy for. Robert Downey Jr. to be so good with people. He's so great with Rhodes. He's so great with Paltrow, and he's amazing with Happy. It's just maybe it's just Downey Jr. Man.
It's got to be.
He's something else.
Hysterical.
He's got like 7 men worth of charisma in one person.
Yeah, I know.
He's got the charisma of 7 men.
Like we said in the first one, he's got body language in his facial features. He can emote like a whole type of disdain just with his face, or a whole type of
and I don't know if this is just me, but I think this is something that Robert Downey Jr. does. I think he's like somewhat bringing back the bell bottoms. Something about his cuffs on his pants, always, they're extending a little bit more towards the toes. It seems like they're like maybe he's got long pants and they're cuffed. It's weird that I'm noticing this.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's weird.
But I am not a fashion sensitive person. But it's something so consistent. I
would keep an eye on his pants as we progress through these.
Yeah, I suggest that.
That might change.
I
don't think they have any control over, other than him starting to wear his favorite T-shirts.
It's not just in the Marvel movies that I see him do that. I think that he has a special way of doing his pants, and he carries on his new glasses focus outside of Tony Stark. Tony Stark likes those glasses, but if you ever see Robert Downey Jr. do an interview or out on the streets, even post Tony Stark, he's wearing some Tony Stark glasses, like some blue tinted,
some nice frames, and you should watch he did a Joe Rogan podcast recently.
Yeah, I saw some of that.
Yeah, and he was talking about how he's just basically accepting becoming old, and his eyes aren't what they used to be, and it was a good podcast.
That's where I'm at, man. That's the 40s aspect of this show. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
You got to get your vision checked, and your vegging.
You're vegging.
You got to eat your vegging.
You got to make sure you're not vegging.
But Killian is super charming too. Killian is
extremely.
Charming.
He was a super nerd in the beginning, and then obviously had a crazy turnaround due to
which I realized
therapy. He says,
which I only realized this on my second or third viewing. I think it was even my third viewing that his betterment, his correct he was diseased in the previous.
He definitely had some sort of
scoliosis or
muscle degenerative.
He had some kind of thing that was making him hobbled a little. And this extremist must even cure those types of diseases, which I don't know if I started mentioning as we started recording, but the whole aspect of Extremis and the potential there, and the fact that at the end of it, Stark was able to cure it from Potts in a small means. He says, like, I was able to figure this out 20 years ago, half drunk,
yeah.
I think I could get this. So he's able to cure Potts after it, but I mean, had Potts maybe fallen into a pit of fire during that combat and survived, well, thank gosh, she was...
Yeah, maybe we should leave this inside of her just in case we get into some shit again.
Yeah, she obviously... Well, I mean, one of the things I suspect out of it is that it causes some...
Aggression. That's what I figured when she was like, well, that was really violent. It's like, yeah, I actually, when we get there, when we get to the end, I have a couple of, some issues with those final scenes. As cool as they were and as awesome as it was.
Totally. There's lots of things to have issues with. I would say one of the things, man, I think my opinions have changed over the multiple times of watching it, but I initially really did not like the scenes with the kid. I felt...
I forgot his name already.
Yeah, let me look that up. But I felt it was like trying to keep the episode grounded in a child's movie, which... I don't know. I'm a Star Wars fan, so it's something that I feel maybe I'm growing resented towards that attitude now that I'm 40.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're 40 now. We're no longer the kids, but they want to keep the next generation, and that's a solid business strategy. But
keep generations involved. Got to get the kids to like it so we make more money off of them.
Right. It's just, I don't want to branch off onto Star Wars, but I definitely think that there's room for them, and they have. They are both being appeasing towards kids in their primary movies, but they're working towards making more adult-themed movies because hopefully they've just accepted that there is adults who love Star Wars and are ready to grow up with them, maybe.
So what didn't you like about the kids' performance? Or what did you see this time around?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I
made up for it.
I felt it was bringing it like what we'll later see as Ant-Man. Ant-Man. Those movies were very
family oriented.
I felt it was a little bit years younger for me. Ideal. I felt it was bringing the Marvel universe. It was keeping it grounded in the child audience, which I felt maybe that hadn't happened so much. Prior to this.
No, not really.
So I was like...
And they have all been PG-13.
Yeah, but
Except for Deadpool.
Yeah, but they didn't have like a direct kid that that they're heroes interacting with, other than Iron Man saying hi to the guy, the Peter Parker. Later, what we find out is Peter Parker in the Iron Man mask.
Yeah,
little things like that takes literally 2 seconds. Okay, that kid can feel attached to the story.
Captain Marvel.
That's later.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're talking pre-2010s.
And I'd even say Captain Marvel's bit was half of what Iron Man 3's part was.
Yeah, I needed to I only saw that in theaters too.
In what I remember of Captain Marvel was that we continuously got flashbacks of Captain Marvel when she was a kid and standing up against people who said that she...
Well, the little girl that's living with them.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a fairly large part.
That's true. Which she's...
Boom!
Yeah.
Roasted. I'm just kidding.
Point Dan.
Yeah. We're not going to say which one. We'll stick to that one. 2,000 points to Dan.
But I will call out the... I want to find the boy actor here.
Oh, yeah. Well, while you're looking that up, I made a few notes about just Tony, his overall... acting around his anxiety. I thought it was pretty good. I've definitely had a panic attack like that once or twice, so it was kind of cool just to see him reacting the way that he did, throwing the snowball at the kid when he was consistently saying New York, what about New York, and asking questions about the wormhole and blowing up the bad guys with a nuke, and he's having a panic attack, pleading with him to stop talking.
The actor that played the boy was Ty Simpkins.
But what's the boy's name?
I'm about to find that now. Google only gives me one thing at a time. And gosh damn it.
But we find out very early.
Oh,
Harley, that's right. I knew
Keener.
it was like a very unique name. It's a cute name for him.
Yeah.
He's a good kid. I normally not the biggest fan of child actors personally.
Agree. That is kind of another factor that contributed to my.
I've never been a fan of. I mean, other than like maybe Haley Joel Osment in AI and the Ghost movie, and
what about
Macaulay
Sixth
Culkin
Sense?
in Home. Yeah, Sixth Sense. That's the Ghost movie.
Is that what you already mentioned?
Yeah. Well, that's
impressive.
impressive. Or Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Those are classics.
But was that good acting or just a really cute kid put in adorable situations?
That was good acting. Go back and watch it. You'll be surprised.
Okay.
Anyway, not usually a big fan of that, but seeing the interaction that Tony had with him, it was really cool just to see that Tony adopted, I assume, some of his father's fathering. Calling him out,
Right,
like
that was a
treating
good
him
point.
treating him negatively and like
Never acknowledging his kidhood.
yeah, exactly, treating him like a buddy or and like
As-
negative reinforcement.
As a less competent adult, but nevertheless, you're here. You know, like he's definitely downgraded as.
But he's definitely respected because Tony knows he's like a tinkerer. He immediately calls him out for being a nerd.
Yeah.
He's like, "Who is
Yeah,
he?
yeah,
What's his
yeah.
name? What do you mean? The kid at school that beats you up. What's his name?"
Yeah. You're right.
So he knows
he gives him no pity though.
No, he doesn't. That's what I'm saying. That's like he sees himself in him, but he also adopts his father's fathering.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Yeah.
Which was beautifully done in this movie throughout.
Yeah, some really great, hilarious lines.
Yeah.
And I will say, the lady who was in the flashback at the beginning, the botanist, when she came to visit Iron Man and deliver the warning, I believed her. I think that this movie, on third watch, I really feel that their misdirects were well constructed. As opposed,
In the promos, you mean, or the misdirects in the movie itself?
both.
Oh, okay.
Both.
All right.
I think that the movie, the promos, the trailers, threw us off from the main villain, even though in the beginning of the movie it was evident.
Yeah.
We were all still waiting for the deal with Kingsley. We want to know what that Mandarin's about.
One more day left, Mr. President.
Yeah, one more lesson.
One more lesson.
Oh man.
That accent was so it's I can't like pin it, but it's so chilling.
They even mocked it or called it out like it was a Southern preacher.
Yeah, that's
like
what.
they
Yeah,
couldn't
when
play-
Tony's doing the research with his his
very
fucking.
theatrical. I liked how they had when Tony Stark did start getting the detective work.
He was
on.
starting to figure it out, but
Yeah.
he didn't have enough evidence to understand that it was a production.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But he felt that he was getting suspicious that it was a lot of theatrics. Involved.
And what's with that? How did he get?
The giant stuffed animal?
First of all, I wrote a note about that. The giant stuffed animal has boobs.
Yeah, it's never called out, and I was really wondering what
I was thrown off by that.
Last time
immensely.
I was watching it. I was not sure if they were boobs or
They're boobs.
are they just hands?
They're boobs. They're definitely
They
boobs.
look like the shape of boobs.
They're boobs.
But they have
Like paws.
they have fingers on them. They have
just multiple nipples.
maybe that draws the question of what do you want there? It's a bunny. Do you want giant breasts or do
That's
you want
true.
their forearms?
I mean, it depends on who
because
the
without
customer
those
is.
breasts, it's just an armless bunny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. You're right. Are no arms attached.
But they're so boob shaped. It's
odd. Yeah. Wait till she walks in, because then when she looks over to the left, they show the scene.
and they treat it as a mysteriously questionable why would that exist object.
Yeah.
But
First of all, where did he get it? What carnival do they have that type of stuffed animal?
what are you gonna do with it?
I know, it's like 2 stories tall. It's a ridiculous thing to give somebody.
I mean, I think it was early in the movie. It was on the outside of the house.
Yeah, when she pulled up.
Imagine the effort.
Trying to get it in the house on the
like
first floor.
The automatically opening glass doors. I'm just saying that.
There it is. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
I mean,
He's right. They're not boobs. They are arms.
no doubt they do look and are in the
They're in the exact
place
perfect placement,
that would be boobs.
but they're not. Confirmed here and now. 2020, March 5th.
It just looks so much like boobs.
Yeah, it's interesting. But the other point I was making earlier was before we started talking about the giant teddy bear.
Sorry, yeah, a distraction.
Or bunny. I don't remember.
Put the bunny in the box.
Damn it, I don't remember. And I'm looking at my notes.
How are you believing this chick here? The chick is...
Damn.
Think of the name.
I wish I could listen to the recording right now.
Maya Hansen, Rebecca Hall.
That's who she plays in the movie? Rebecca Hall or Maya Hansen?
She plays Maya Hansen.
Okay.
Her name is Rebecca Hall.
She's the botanist woman that develops the...
So that's not what you were trying to bring up. Anything
no,
about her?
No, I don't remember.
Sorry, nothing about the bunny?
No. The bunny destroyed any train of thought that was there.
Damn. But Tony Stark ultimately calls out the terrorists and gives him...
his home address.
Yeah.
What a moron.
Super bold move. He was very angry. But because they had hurt somebody.
Happy.
Right.
At the Chinese theater, Happy was there following one of the gentlemen that was not wearing his security badge in the lobby of... I made a note about that. So I guess Pepper Potts does still run Stark Industries. Or is that some other company that she made Happy the head of security? Right? Because at the end of Iron Man 2, remember, she gives up the job on the roof at the very end. She couldn't handle the stress. So I don't remember hearing them mention that she took the job over again, but it's just, I'm guessing it's implied. She continued to work at Stark Industries?
Yeah, I would imagine if she even was running it for a while that she'd have a lot more capability, and now that she has teams, she's buddy with Tony Stark, she could come to him for direction, or so it's probably that maybe they're both doing it.
Oh, okay, I hear that.
But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Tony Stark was busy with saving the world a questionable amount of time ago when he was doing Avengers movie, and
even before that, when they were building like Stark Tower. Stuff like that. She seemed to be, more of a partner than anything else. So maybe they're just partners.
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
Okay, I'll latch onto that idea. I like that.
Now, though his Malibu home is being assaulted, this is where I gotta comment on I feel that throughout this whole movie, Tony Stark is deciding to fight by first tying his hands behind his back and seeing how much he can endure until he feels like untying those hands, because his home is being assaulted by 2-3 helicopters. He's also sitting on top of an Iron Legion, at least 41 other suits that he can remotely control and tell to fight things.
Yeah.
He chooses not to.
And maybe not necessarily chooses not to, but in the chaos.
I would say that he could say, Jarvis, activate my Legion and wipe out these helicopters. Real easy. I'm just saying, Jarvis is a huge AI that can do a lot of things for him as long as he has his authority.
I mean, I guess, but...
Also, how about this? Because of his panic attack, and he was having a sleep because... Pepper Potts took him to the shower with him, and he got some fucking rest after that. So, because he's being bothered by like a hand on his shoulder by Pepper Potts, an Iron Legion guy is there to react despite Iron Man's
Mark 42 suit.
But he never said, if missiles come to my house, activate and stop that missile launcher guy. I'm just saying. He's fighting with his hands willingly tied behind his back. He's deciding to only use his Mark 42 armor until he wants to use the rest of them. It's a cool...
I don't know. I just
add to desperation and real danger to Tony.
I don't think it's, in my opinion, I don't think it's self-induced. I think in the panic of everything, he thought the Mark 42 suit had flight capability. It clearly didn't. And if he did want to activate the Iron Legion, he would have thought to do that instead of choosing to fire a piano at the helicopter or rip out one of the missiles from the armor and throw it at the other helicopter.
Yeah. He did cool.
I'm not saying he did that. I don't know. I don't. Those are panic moves, in my opinion. That's not the thought process of a man in his normal capacity. In my opinion,
I'll just say this: he has a lot of protocols for a lot of things.
Agreed.
He would never have a protocol for a home assault.
He never invited anyone ever. He never invited a terrorist to his home. He never had anybody as organized as.
Okay. I'm
Aldrich
just saying.
Killian.
He's usually the guy with the pre-set up plan.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, his suits pull him out of the rubble.
Which that was another thing when his house fell on him and he got trapped underneath the rubble.
Mm-hmm.
His hydraulic suits wasn't able to push those rocks away from him, or the jets that were available on his hand unit weren't.
So you mean the other suit, or you just mean his suit that he's wearing?
The suit that he's wearing.
Oh, the suit that he's wearing.
The suit that he's wearing is his hand. Jarvis tells him to hold his breath.
Yeah.
Again, Jarvis can recognize that his owner is in danger and recommend or suggest a very competent and obvious solution to the problem. It's just one of his things that he never thought, that Jarvis never thought of the 41 other Iron Men underneath.
So, what if we use one of the other suits? They cut that out at the cutting room floor. That part was cut out because they're like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. And the guy was like, well, we'll just cut that out and no one will think of it.
All I'm saying is that Tony Stark, throughout most of this movie, decides to fight with his hands tied behind his back, with only a fraction.
I would say after he arrives in Nebraska, I would agree with you. I'd say up until that point, it was a man who had not gotten a lot of sleep.
A lot of panic.
A lot of anxiety attacks. But then, you're right. After he arrives in Nebraska,
he's got time.
He even calls the only reason I think I back up this idea after this point is because he calls Pepper and he tells her he's sorry and he's gonna take a beat and figure some shit out.
Yeah.
So I think after that point I totally agree. It's a self-prescribed introspective decision that he made, which I think makes the movie all better for it.
Totally.
You see his MacGyver side come out, which is super cool.
Again, I do like the movie and.
Yeah, are you sure? No.
One of the things I do like about Tony Stark that I think always comes across, he talks like a guy who's thinking 3 steps ahead. He's only having this conversation because it's necessary and it's going to go in one of the 4 ways that he's already seen it going.
Yeah.
So it's really great. It's really great, no doubt. He decides to manual it and fix his Mark 42 in a shed with some screwdrivers.
Yeah. So that one, speaking of the Mark 42 armor, one thing I don't understand is he has to charge it.
Right. What about the arc reactor, dude?
What about the arc reactor with the new crazy core that he invented?
Yeah.
That's not a power source anymore. But I also see the argument that, well, all the pieces break apart and it's not necessarily all being powered by a singular thing anymore. They all have to have their own individual power. I parried my own thought at that one. But again, you have to kind of stretch your imagination. It's a comic book movie.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he doesn't have Jarvis too.
No.
At this point. That's another thing. Unfortunately, there's no way to call his organization and get anything remotely set up.
Yeah, he doesn't have Jarvis connected to the internet, activating things
cool
back
if
home.
You could say, send Iron, the Mark 41 to this address. Huh. Boom. I am way ahead of schedule. Yeah.
But nope, he wants to work on himself.
Right. Yeah.
Which
that's probably
it's part of his arc.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I felt Iron Man 1 was, becoming not a narcissist. He wasn't a perfect person after that, but he became not a narcissist.
Yeah, exactly.
Not so much of a narcissist.
Not so much of one.
I realized that he wanted to help instead of profit and think, he wanted to help and maybe help others rather than just get everything for himself. Iron Man 2 was that It was I think overcoming his legacy.
Overcoming his own personal belief that maybe he was in his father's shadow,
Right.
reconciling some feelings he had with his father's shadow, and also opening himself up to help.
Yeah, right.
Opening himself up to the idea of a team,
Right.
and being part of a larger unit.
Sure. Yeah. And of course he had Avengers, and this, I think this is him maybe fully getting over himself, maybe fully getting over his ego.
I think he's definitely purposely humbling himself.
Yeah. It ends with him blowing up his suits and getting the surgery to where he removes the
remaining shrapnel. Yep.
And so he
fixes Pepper.
Maybe he's, saying that I'm no longer against the clock. I no longer need to pressure myself so much. Maybe that's what it is. Because, that's what I imagine that the metaphor for that shrapnel at his heart is like you're
running out of time.
Yeah, you're moments away from dying if you aren't, doing everything Jensen wants you to do to be a good person. And I don't know. But by removing it, he's removing all the pressures over him.
Yeah.
What I think. That's what Iron Man 3, the last of the trilogy, is doing. And when we next see him is in Ultron. I'll be interested to see what his... Oh, no. Civil War?
Yeah. Civil War first. Wait, no. Civil War is way after. Ultron first. Let me look at the list, actually.
Yeah.
Chronological. So the next one is Thor Dark World, Guardians of the Galaxy, then Winter Soldier. And then Ultron. So I think... I don't recall him appearing in Captain America 2 or Thor. So the next one has to be Age of Ultron. But yeah, I could definitely prescribe to that.
I'll be interested to see what his arc is in Age of Ultron, to see if he's just like the casual, I'm just going to be your hero guy because that's my role and I'm fine with that and I'm not feeling any pressure.
He wants to build a suit of armor around the world.
Oh yeah, it's about the...
It's about the Ultron program.
Right.
He's tired of leaving things up to chance, and he knows the end game, which he even says in the movie, is up there. How are you guys planning to beat that? So he clearly, not spirals per se, but he clearly starts to see the larger issue, the larger threat.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
When does he have his vision? Is it it's got to be an Ultron.
Yes. Yeah. When he sees the team, that's Ultron. Yeah. I love that scene. The conversations between Harley and Tony about when he's doing his investigation and he's looking for similarities between Killian's victims and the explosions and things like that. When they come across in the town that the suit had brought him to, surprisingly, which I actually made a note about his surprise reaction when he woke up flying.
Yeah, that's not part of the plan.
Yeah, where are we? Upstate New York? He's like, no, sir, we're in Nebraska. He's like, what?
Yeah, he was.
We're not supposed to be here. But when he's having the conversation with Harley about all of the people dying, maybe it's not this scene. I thought it was this scene where he doesn't even mention New York and he has a panic attack, but that's when he's in the Audi.
That's the later one.
Yeah, but this is the first scene where he starts to ask about the wormhole. He's like, what does that remind you of?
Yeah, they're in
like a wormhole, doesn't it?
They're in the ruins where they have the shadows of the people who blew up.
Yeah.
There's 5 shadows and the 6th one blew up.
Yeah, he starts to ask him, well, why is there only 5 shadows, but there's 6 confirmed dead? Like,
right.
The guy, he didn't have a soul because blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was... he went up to heaven.
Yeah.
And then later on, so what he finds out from this scene is that someone's mom goes to a bar, and he was going to go meet her.
The mother of the guy who blew up.
Right. He was
veteran.
And Tony Stark was going to go meet her to try to talk about her son and find out about him. That's all he was going on to find out.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that it was a big handoff of documentation of evidence that Killian wanted silenced. And that's where we meet a couple other extremists.
Which is, wow, what a happenstance that happened.
Right.
Oh, the bad guys just happened to be in this small town that happened to?
Right.
Yeah. How come they weren't there beforehand?
I wonder if there's an actual explanation that we haven't picked up on.
Maybe it's just, like you said, Killian wrapping up things. Maybe he saw that, because he knows that the brunette went to Pepper before the helicopters came and blew up the mansion, maybe he knew that some loose ends needed to be tied up when he saw her doing that. So he ordered Scully and can't remember if he's the bad guy from Deadpool or not, but the shaved-haired gentleman that wears the Iron Patriot suit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He punches a hole through him.
Yeah.
Or shoots his chest blaster through his stomach. That was so dope. But I made a couple of the funnier quips in the movie. Tony calls Iron Patriot. First of all, he shows up in some Middle Eastern country in a bar or something, and he says, "All right, hands up, blah, blah," and then he gets a phone call.
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, hang on." And then he asks him what his admin is and then what his login is.
Yeah.
He's like, "All right, it's War Machine Rocks with an X, capital W." And the guy that he's threatening starts laughing. And he points his gun at him. And then you hear Tony on the other end of the line just start cracking up. Yeah. That's, first of all, it's hilarious that Rhodes has that kind of, I don't know, ego or that kind of sense of humor. His password is War Machine Rocks with an X. That's ridiculous.
He was outgoingly saying Iron Patriot's great, but then when he had revealed his password, he has to admit
his War Machine.
Yeah, that War Machine's better.
He definitely prefers it.
The guy who played that really loyal bad guy that ended up getting in the suit, I had just found him. Oh yeah, his character name was Savin. Pretty cool name. Savin.
Interesting.
The actor's James Badge Dale.
Yeah, I've seen him in a few movies before. He usually plays a bad guy.
Yeah. This whole extremist thing, though, I gotta say, man.
Yeah, she punches when they're fighting. She using the extremist powers. She punches through one cop.
Yeah.
To get to the cop behind him's gun.
Yeah.
It seems unnecessary.
Yeah, right. I mean.
And speaking of hands tied behind his back.
Yeah.
Tony
literally
uses most of this fight with his hands tied behind his back.
That's actually one of the.
He sits down next to that guy. He's like, "Hey." Hi.
That's all that happens there.
Want to see something even crazier? He jumps through the window.
Yeah, right.
It's clearly just not a guy thinking clearly.
Yeah, but in my third viewing, I want to say on my first viewing, I was like, man, this Iron Man movie is lacking a lot of Iron Man. This is a lot of Tony Stark.
Yeah, a lot more Tony Stark.
But in the third viewing, I like that. Oh man, and then that just after that scene where you're talking about where he jumped to the glass and he's hiding in that bar, and he has a moment of respite where he thinks that he might be getting away, and he just turns and she's just waiting
in his face.
Oh my god, with like a evil smile. She's really good at being creepy.
Yeah,
really good at being a creepy, scaredy lady. And when she heats up her neck to melt through the chains,
he's trying to choke her. Yeah, and she just heats up. Yeah.
And then, of course, the mechanic.
Yeah, I was going to say he's classic, plucky MacGyver Tony Stark. And he, sets the entrance on fire, hoping that would stop her. And she walks through. He's like, "You're going to be disappointed. I've dated hotter chicks than you."
yeah,
and she's like literally on fire.
Yeah.
Just quipping nonstop.
It's his special. It's his other power.
But yeah, he throws dog tags in the microwave, jacks the gas line open, and then...
Club Bluey.
He says another one-liner, which I wish I remembered because it's really funny. But
and then you later see her on the power lines. She must have.
She did.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, she did as hell. Further into the movie, we see Stanley's cameo number 7.
This is where it was getting so serious when
the guy on the bingo. Oh yeah, Kingsley.
Yeah. When he had the gun on camera.
Yeah, he was threatening didn't he say some politician that...
It was a businessman, actually. It was a CEO of some corporation.
Oh, yeah, an oil company. Yeah. And he threatens that unless he calls the phone...
Yeah. See, exactly. Unless the president calls, he's going to shoot the guy.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm talking about by Killian or by whoever the Mandarin would be making lose-lose scenarios for his adversaries. You know, like if he doesn't call and he shoots this person on camera, then the president's revealed to the public for being a heartless person who wouldn't save one of his own. Yeah. And if he does call, Mandarin then ignores the call and shoots the person anyway.
Well, maybe not innocent, but yeah.
That's just making the president feel like a bitch. Like, I knew you were going to call, and this is my play anyway to show how little power you have. And it's just a lose-lose situation, which is...
It's like a Joker paradox.
Yeah, it's that clever bad guy stuff that makes them feel unbeatable as an audience viewer that really, we're getting sucked in as, oh my gosh, this guy is so scary and dangerous.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. They basically have it going through, 2/3 of the movie, 3/4 of the whole movie. You think that Ben Kingsley is the bad guy. And then as Tony starts to piece things together, he does find out that Aldridge is behind some things, but he implicates him in just providing, what does he think he provides him, like weapons or something? He thinks he's working with the Mandarin, providing him explosives. That's right. He thinks he's just given the explosives.
That he's sold out to the Mandarin with this extremist stuff, so he's using that as bombs.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's a bomb, not a bomb. When it's a misfire.
Exactly. So he's giving veterans the ideal that they can grow their limbs back or they can be healed from their injuries, and anyone it doesn't work on, I imagine they keep telling him. When they show the Mandarin's people or Aldridge's people giving those veterans various dosages of that stuff, they tell them not to go overboard. Like, don't go crazy this time. So they've clearly been giving them that. I'm guessing it's been helping them, but they obviously, when they want them to die or explode or cause a scene, they give them a dose that's clearly going to kill them.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not a perfect formula, and like you said, one is it not a bomb, one it's a fucking misfire. Tony crafts or MacGyver's himself a bunch of gadgets.
Speaking of your Home Alone comment, I thought this was like a reverse Home Alone.
Yeah, he's breaking in using various...
stuff he got at Home Depot?
Yep, 2 carts full of shit at Home Depot, and he uses like Ebola. He makes a gun.
Yeah, like a nail gun kind of thing.
Yeah. A taser, a shocking glove, Christmas ornament, what is it, a flashbang?
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
We see the needles with the brown liquid submerged into the clear liquid of the water bottles.
He throws those right there in the fountain.
Okay.
He knocks the guy out and then throws it in the fountain.
Just he's brought more toys than it needs, so he's gonna just be flashy with it.
Yeah.
Classic Tony.
Yeah. And in classic Tony fashion, he drops the guns that he doesn't need anymore because he's clearly beaten his way up that far. So. But after getting that far, he meets, and the audience is revealed to the fact that the Mandarin is just a hired actor named Trevor Slattery.
Trevor Slattery.
Nice to meet you. I'm an actor. I had a substance abuse problem.
They found me on the streets?
Yeah, they found me on the streets, and let me guess, they cleaned you up. They gave me my drugs. Give me anything I wanted in a speedboat. Yeah, they... definitely used him very, very well. He was such a good bad guy.
And then later when he was asked, what did you tell him? I told him nothing.
I told him nothing. He opens the beer and just walks away.
Yeah, right? You told him everything.
Yeah, he really did. Everything he knew.
Yeah.
But you get the feeling that he's drugged out. So then Aldridge catches up to him when he breaks into Ben Kingsley's mansion.
Just classic evil monologuing.
Yep, he monologues, shows him that he captured Pepper.
Yeah.
And is injecting Pepper with
the extremists.
Yeah, which I don't know, I took kind of issue with that. So we might as well talk about it.
Yeah.
The end of the movie.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that happen in just a short amount of time. They capture the president, and I took problems with. He disables the Iron Patriot suit with a handshake. The shaved head guy, he just heats up his hand, shakes his hand, and falls over.
Which is crazy.
Aldridge heats him out of it, breathes fire at Rhodes, which Rhodes then proceeds to say, "Oh, you can breathe fire, okay." They knock out Rhodes, tie him up, and then they put the president in the suit.
Yeah.
Fly the suit to Miami.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I had trouble following where they were going at the last few seconds. Like, where are we at? We're in Miami.
They wanted to have the Mandarin do a dramatic execution of the president in the Iron Patriot suit and an oil rig.
And an oil rig over the...
oil something.
Yeah, some shipping docks in Miami. Yeah, so we get to that point. So he calls all the suits, which, as we were saying, is kind of BS. He could have called the suits at any time.
Yeah.
He calls what does he call it? The
Iron Legion.
house party
Oh,
protocol.
yeah.
So all the suits show up and they start kicking ass. There's a lot of really badass scenes.
Which the movie's explanation as to why the Iron Legion couldn't help him up until then, he had to clear it with Jarvis that the construction team had cleared the doors.
The door, yeah. They couldn't come out until some nameless construction crew that he hired cleared away the rubble. So he calls them in. They start saving the day. There's a lot of suits that are specialized that they show off their powers. And then we get to the point where he's running between suits, which is all really, really cool. I thought the whole end fight scene was awesome. He's jumping between suits, and there's a lot of quips between him and Rhodes.
Yeah.
Like when they both have pistols.
Yeah.
And he's like looking around. He's like, I'm going to take a look and see what I find. He pops up real quick and comes back down. He's like, what'd you see? Nothing. I went too fast. And then he's like, give me a clip. He's like, they're not universal, man. You can't just use any ammunition on any pistol. He's like, I made these guns, all right? I know how they work. Just give me one of your extras. You got like 10 extras. He's like, that's not how it works.
Speaking of the monologue, the bad guys, I loved the scenes in which Tony Stark was tied up on the bed and talking to those goons. Those goons were the best. Like, the way they reacted to his, you should be dead now. Oh, really? Like
5, 4, 3. And nothing would happen.
That scene was so good. And the one with the ponytail, I don't know, they're back and forth. The conversation is great. And then later on, as he's getting his pieces of the suit back, the one guy who says, you know what? I don't even like working for these guys. They're totally crazy. And he puts his gun down and just walks away. I love it. Like, these guys, big muscle ex-soldier. This guy has a crazy plan, crazy mind.
Yeah.
Walk around with guns. Hey, pays the bills, but shit, against Iron Man? No. I'm
going home. I'm putting my gun down. See you later, guys.
That was priceless. Oh, I loved it when Rhodes and when they're heating him up, as you mentioned, when he was heating him up out of the seat, and they're like, and it turns out he was gonna cook himself in the suit. He didn't. He's like, no, don't let it go. Don't let it go. I can keep on taking this pain.
Yeah, he's like, don't do it.
But it was like a safety thing that the Iron Suit had to open for him.
He's like, okay, you're going to open it? All right, here we go.
Here we go, then. And he opens up with a big-ass punch. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I like that they gave Rhodes
he was badass in this movie.
A very competent soldier. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he was really badass in this movie.
Yeah,
when he goes in and saves the president.
Totally,
he comes around and he's hanging on that thing, and those extremist guys are threatening him.
Yeah.
And one of the cords broke already, and the guy's like,
bye.
Yeah, he shoots him a couple. He's like, okay. All right, bye. Yeah, he cuts the cable and swings down and saves the president.
Then afterwards he's like, you look really badass. I'm going to need that suit, though.
It's like, you look really great in that suit, Mr. President, but I'm going to need that back now.
Yeah. It was really good, really good. Yeah. I mean, I remember when I saw it, it was somehow a letdown, but watching it
now, I was really excited. Him flying with right arm, left foot, or vice versa.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's weird that they made the Mark 42 armor that I'll say obsessed about. He refuses to use another piece of armor unless he has to. Absolutely,
and calls it the prodigal son
when it returns in the shipyard fight. Yeah,
I had okay. So wait, on to my gripe about that. So, and that's why I'm going with your theory that Extremis causes some violence. But I didn't like how Pepper was immediately able to
calm herself,
bust out of the rubble that first of all, that was really emotional. Tony missed catching her
totally.
After promising he would. She falls to her death, we assume.
Yeah.
Then after that, she comes out, kicks Killian's ass, punches through the suit because it's looking for Extremis signatures. He's yelling at Jarvis.
Yeah.
But his earpiece wasn't in. So all this drama's happening.
Super a badass
But she's
fighter.
super a badass all of a sudden with her crazy ripped body. Punches through the suit. Punches through the suit again to get to the arm.
Right.
Rips the shoulder off. Aims the thing at Gillian or Aldridge and then kills him.
Yeah.
I'm all for women being awesome.
but for no earning
There's
it?
there's no that was a payoff with no setup for it.
Yeah, exactly.
It was super cool. It was so cool.
Yeah, they've set up Iron Man learning like martial arts in the movie.
Yeah.
Just to enforce that he can fight.
Yeah.
And he's not a super duper fighter.
No, he relies on his suit, but he knows at least enough.
But this extremist
Pepper?
lady, she took to having super speed and strength real quick.
Real quick. So that's why I'm subscribing to the whole extremist causes badassery notion. The part you were talking about, he's got to have the Mark 42, and so after all that, after he drops Pepper, he thinks it's over. All his suits are previously engaged, and he starts going toe-to-toe with Aldridge. He doesn't have a suit, and the Mark 42 comes, and he's, the prodigal son returns, and he puts his arm out.
Right.
And it dong, and it slams off.
A whole bunch of parts.
Yeah, and he's, whatever.
But none of the parts fall down.
All
the parts somehow fall onto the...
They just fall in pieces there. That part was funny, him saying, whatever, and he's about to fight it. But that happened after the heavy emotional toll that he saw Pepper dying.
This should not be he would be shattered.
I don't think he'd have whatever. It was funny for the audience, but the pacing felt ill-timed. That should have happened before he dropped Pepper, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So those were my gripes about the end, but they were all fantastical to watch.
I see your gripe, but I'll say they unfortunately didn't have the Iron Man leashing out with revengeful fury of Pepper's dead. He loses the hand-to-hand combat with Killian. Mm-hmm. He loses that. And
she comes in to save the day.
He did end up... Actually, no, he didn't lose it. He ends up winning it by putting Killian in
the suit. And Killian comes back, and he's on the ropes, and then she comes back and saves him. Yeah, you're right, though. He does get the better of him, quote-unquote.
But it's not like not an unleashed fury of you killed him.
He's not... exactly.
But he loses the hand-to-hand fight and desperately gets to get him armored in the 42 and then blow it up.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get that part, which is...
He does cut his arm off, which is cool. He cuts off...
Yeah.
Towards the beginning.
But I think that's why...
you take care of that.
You take a minute.
You take a minute, yeah.
But I think that's why it feels like after that moment of having... If they're going to pluck the string of a broken promise and the love of your life falling to a death, of course, the viewers... should be thinking, of course, she's bumped up on extremists, and we could see that they could walk through fires no problem now.
Yeah, but she does fall on
shards
pile
and
of
shit.
Fucking steel.
But of course, we saw that they could recover from that shit. So, and Killian's back for. So I mean, I'm just saying that they did pluck that string, but they did set up that it's likely that she's not as doomed as we think. And then he does the house party protocol, and all of a sudden Alden Killiage has 40 extremist guys, a few dozen of these.
I had just
people.
known of only a couple, but all of a sudden he's got like a platoon out of nowhere.
There were tons of them, and ultimately loyal, furious, and ready to fight off dozens of Iron Men. You know what I mean? That's resolve. But cool scene, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I mean, if this is a comic book, and I was turning the pages, I wouldn't be like, this is bullshit. So,
be like, whoa, cool. You keep reading. Whoa, and then the clones showed up? Whoa.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, it's the commercials made you think that the Mandarin was just coming after Captain America or some kind of bad guy that had more power than we'd ever seen before. When in reality, we're talking about a sociopath who wants to control the grand theater of terrorism versus anti-terrorism.
Yeah, it's
really cool. Like you said, having watched it, I'd come back to it. What are you gonna say? Sorry.
This is it is the first version of Mysterio. Mysterio also wants to.
Oh yeah, you're right. Now this is an Avengers level threat.
Right, but I mean, he was controlling the war on terror through actors. Mysterio was going to do it through holograms.
Yeah,
but absolutely the same motives.
I mean, he was absolutely going to kill the president, and he was going to have the vice president step in, because we saw the vice president clearly had I think Aldridge says at one point, I found a guy who's going to play ball, and when he's talking to the president. That's the vice president, because the VP, they show later when Rhodes goes, I'm surrounded by my family and the Secret Service's finest people.
Yeah.
I'll be fine. He kisses, I'm assuming his granddaughter or daughter, who's got a leg missing. So the vice president obviously has motivations to be tied to a program that can regrow your fucking limbs. They show him being arrested at the end, and there's some resolution.
I didn't even catch that.
You
the
didn't?
second or third time.
Really?
Yeah.
The VP has, I'm guessing someone related to him.
But that's good. Yeah, they put a lot more thought into this than...
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The third, when I was watching in the theaters, I was like, meh, this is meh, crap,
oh, this
meh,
is not what I was expecting. I hate it.
Kiddish, meh.
They were clearly trying to they were making a bold step.
Yeah.
But they still kept the great...
back and forth between Rhodes and Tony.
The quippy, amazing humor.
I don't know.
Pops up. I don't know. It was too quick.
Right. If he was in his Iron Man suit, it would have recorded it, logged it, and told him.
Exactly.
But he has nothing.
He's got nothing by himself.
They're not universal when he's talking about clips. So good.
And this is a Christmas movie.
I was thinking that too. This is like Marvel's
movie.
best Christmas movie, only Christmas movie.
As far as I know, this is their only Christmas movie,
and it for sure is.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't gaudy with it, but it snows.
Yeah, it's like a Die Hard.
Yeah,
it's a Christmas movie, but with a Marvel twist to it.
It happens during Christmas, so
yeah. But at the very end, I liked Jon Favreau checking out the nurse after he wakes up.
You noticed that too? He was like just laying in on it. That guy, he's always good looking. Like
he's they definitely lay on he's like a like a little bit of a creeper, or at least a womanizer.
He
to
looks
a point.
up to Tony Stark and lived, as Tony Stark's protection.
He was his bodyguard for so many years. Yeah, he's gonna have some of those tendencies rub off on him.
But it was hilarious.
Yeah. So after the resolution, the post credit scene. Oh yeah, and I think I mentioned it earlier, but we started talking about something else. The Stanley cameo number 7 he's a bingo.
Yeah.
They just show him on TV. He's got no lines in this one.
Yeah.
But the after credits scene, I don't actually remember. And like I said, on the Xbox, they don't let you. It's in a tiny screen, which is why I don't remember. Oh, right. It was.
You saw one frame of it.
Yeah.
That's all you needed.
It's Tony.
Oh, right.
Talking to Banner.
They didn't say his name. They said that he.
Well, we already know he's Bruce.
Yeah, I know, but at this time.
We saw the Avengers.
Oh yeah,
we know
of course.
He's Bruce Banner. Yeah.
Well, but it's weird. Actually, it's weird because they said like, "Oh, I don't have his temperament," and I felt it was hints. Because
there's definitely jabs at. Yeah, he's
no. It was just like I felt that his lines were like
hinty instead of
hinty. Exactly.
Resolvey, or not Resolvey.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Yeah, and they were, but that's just part of the humor. But has nothing to do with setting up the next movie. They don't say anything else. Yeah, it's just Tony getting stuff off his chest to a non-qualified doctor.
Banner slept through it.
Yeah, were you sleeping? Yeah, I was. He lost me at Christmas party. So you didn't hear any of that? Yeah, so that's the way the cookie crumbles. The next one, the next movie that we're both kind of excited for because we've never seen it.
Never seen it.
Is Thor: The Dark World.
Never seen it.
Released the same year as Iron Man 3 in 2013, and that one was directed by Alan Taylor.
I've been waiting, and I'm excited. I'm going to watch it.
Whoop whoop.
There's going to be some fresh notes.
Yeah. Fresh as hell.
This is, I think, the one that Dark World is the movie that I most attribute to the one that didn't do well, that was received very poorly.
Yeah.
I think maybe because on my downturn of disliking Iron Man 3, that I don't know, I don't know what I was going on in my life that I didn't go see it because even a bad Marvel movie I'd like.
I just didn't even.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had no interest at the time. I was like, yeah, cool. Well, whatever.
Yeah, well, they turned it around, but this must have been a low point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, we gotta fix it.
We gotta get better. Guardians of the Galaxy is after that, so they definitely turned it around quite a bit.
Turn that shit around.
Turn right around.
Oh, wait,
Every
no.
now and then I get a little...
We can't actually sing because if this is ever going on YouTube,
Oh, yeah, we have to pay copyright.
edit that out.
I will. Well, I've been Dan S. as in science.
And I'm Dan F. as in fictional.
And you guys have yourself a great day.
Bam!